In continuation of the last videos on aromatic electrophilic substitution of BSc Part 1 Organic Chemistry, the first topic that we are going to take up in this video is mercuration. The reaction in which hydrogen from an aromatic hydrocarbon like benzene, naphthalene or any other derivative of benzene is substituted by mercury acetate is known as mercuration. In this reaction, the hydrocarbon, for example benzene in this case, is heated with mercury acetate or with HgO and glacial acetic acid at 363 to 433 Kelvin and gives rise to acetic acid and the mercury acetate product. In the presence of the strong acid, mercury acetate breaks and forms electrophile. For example, mercury acetate in the presence of HClO4 forms acetic acid and CH3COOHgClO4, that is an adduct. This adduct splits into ClO4 minus and CH3COOHg plus, which acts as an electrophile. When nitrobenzene reacts with mercury acetate in the presence of HClO4, then the major product is meta-acetoxy mercury nitrobenzene, because nitro group and hence meta-nitrobenzene is meta-directing. But if nitrobenzene is heated with mercury acetate in the absence of strong acids like HClO4, then we see that the major product is ortho and para acetoxy mercury nitrobenzene, although the nitro group is meta-directing, but in this reaction the attacking species is a free radical and not an electrophile. So here we see that this mercury acetate is heated in the absence of strong acid. It splits into two free radicals, CH3COO free radical and CH3COOHg free radical. Now the aromatic free radical substitution always forms ortho and para products, whether the nature of the substituents may be ortho, para or meta directing, since ortho and para pentadienyl free radical which is formed during the reaction is more stable than the meta radical. So if we see the explanation behind this phenomenon, then we see that it is the stability factor which plays a part in this. So first let's take ortho attack. So when we consider ortho attack, then we see that first we take this CH3COOHg, this is represented as Y free radical, and the at C1 carbon is attached to the or bonded to the nitrogen of the nitro group, and the double bond between C1 and C2 undergoes homolytic fission. One electron of this pair goes on the carbon 1 and one electron from this homolytically fissioned bond pairs with the free radical and forms a covalent bond with this Y free radical, and thereby the number 6 carbon atom converts from the sp2 hybridized state to the sp3 hybridized state, and the number 1 carbon atom attains an unpaired electron. Now we see that the double bond between the carbon 2 and carbon 3 splits evenly, that is undergoes homolytic fission, and one electron from this bond pairs up with the unpaired electron at the carbon 1 position and forms a double bond between carbon 1 and carbon 2. And this second electron from this split double bond goes to the number 3 carbon atom. Now in the next step we see that the double bond between the carbon 4 and carbon 5 undergoes homolytic fission, and one electron from this bond pairs up with the unpaired electron at the third position, that is the third carbon, and forms a double bond between carbon 3 and carbon 4, and the second electron from this bond goes to the number 5 carbon. Now we see that the number 1 position, number 1 structure can proceed in two ways. The one manner we have explained, but there is another manner in which this number 1 structure can proceed further. So we see that this number 1 structure which has unpaired electron at the carbon which is bonded to the nitrogen, in this structure the double bond between the oxygen and the nitrogen undergoes homolytic fission. One electron goes to the oxygen and one electron pairs with the unpaired electron which is at the C1 carbon and forms a double bond with nitrogen and between nitrogen and carbon 1. So we see that here 4 resonating structures are formed when the attack is ortho. Now we will consider the para attack. In this para attack, we see that the double bond between the carbon 3 and carbon 4 undergoes homolysis, that is homolytic fission. One electron pairs up with this Y free radical and forms a covalent bond, and now in this case it is the number 4th carbon atom which converts from the sp2 hybridized stage to sp3 hybridized state, and the one unpaired electron from this bond goes to the number 3 position. Now in this next sequence takes place that the double bond between the carbon 1 and carbon 2 splits evenly, and one electron goes to the carbon which is bonded to the nitrogen of the nitro group, and one unpaired electron pairs up with the unpaired electron at the third carbon and forms a double bond between C2 and C3. Now this number 2 structure can proceed in two ways. The first way is that the double bond between the carbon 5 and 6 undergoes homolytic fission. One electron from this split bond pairs up with the unpaired electron at the carbon which is bonded to the nitrogen and forms a double bond between C1 and C6, whereas the second electron from this pair goes to the number 5 carbon atom. The second manner in which this structure 2 can proceed is, there is this electron, unpaired electron at the carbon which is bonded to the nitrogen. Now in this structure, the double bond between the oxygen and the nitrogen undergoes homolytic fission. The one electron pair goes to the oxygen, and the one unpaired electron from this split bond pairs up with the unpaired electron at the C1 carbon which is bonded to the nitrogen and forms a double bond between nitrogen and carbon. So in this way we see that para attack also produces 4 resonating structures. Now if we consider the meta attack, in this meta attack we see that the double bond between the 3 and 2 carbon atom undergoes homolytic fission. One electron goes to the second carbon atom and one electron pairs up with the Y free radical and forms a covalent bond with Y, and we see that now it is the number 3 carbon which converts from sp2 hybridization state to sp3 hybridization state. In the next step we see that the double bond between the carbon 1 and carbon 6 undergoes homolytic fission. One electron goes to the 6 carbon atom and the one electron pairs up with the unpaired electron at the second carbon atom, and a double bond formation takes place between C1 and C2. And in the next step we see that the double bond between the carbon atom 5 and 4 undergoes homolytic fission. One electron goes on the 4th carbon atom and one electron from this double bond pairs up with this electron pair which is at the 6th carbon position and forms a double bond between carbon 5 and carbon 6. But we see that in these structures there is no chance of ever the carbon which is bonded to the nitrogen getting the unpaired electron, and hence the resonating structure in which there is a double bond between nitrogen and carbon is absent in this meta attack, and hence we know that ortho and para attack gives four resonating structures, whereas meta attack is producing only 3 resonating structures, and as the number of resonating structures is more, the stability is more. So hence in this case the ortho and para products will be more stable than the meta product. Now we come to the second topic of this video, that is orientation. The substituent already present on benzene ring determines how readily the attack occurs and at what position it occurs. This method of determination of relative position of the substituents in polysubstituted benzene is called orientation. The different methods of orientation are as follows: Corners absolute method, grease method or converse of Corners method, indirect method and dipole measurement method. In the first, that is Corners absolute method, this method is based on number of substituted isomers disubstitute benzene forms 3 isomers, that is ortho, meta and para. Disubstituted benzene is converted into trisubstituted derivative, and the number of the trisubstituted derivative formed depend on the nature of the disubstituted isomer. So if disubstituted isomer forms 2 trisubstituted derivatives, then it is ortho disubstituted derivative. And if the disubstituted derivative form 3 trisubstituted derivatives, then it is supposed to be meta disubstituted. And if disubstituted forms only one trisubstituted derivative, then it is supposed to be para disubstituted compound. Now we come to the Greaves method or Converse-Connors method. This method is just Converse-Connors method. In this method, the trisubstituted isomers are converted into disubstituted isomers. In this, 3, 2 and 1 trisubstituted isomers form only one disubstituted isomers. The disubstituted isomer formed from 3 different trisubstituted isomer is meta disubstituted isomer, as in this case 3 different isomers are giving only one type of disubstituted. So this is a meta disubstituted derivative. If the number of the trisubstituted isomers which are forming one disubstituted isomer is 2, then this is an ortho disubstituted derivative. So we see that only 2 different trisubstituted derivatives form one disubstituted derivative. So this is an ortho derivative. And if the disubstituted isomer formed only from one trisubstituted isomer, then it is para disubstituted derivative. So here we see that there is only one trisubstituted derivative which forms one disubstituted isomer. So this is a para isomer. Now we come to the indirect method. In this method, the orientation of the compound is determined by reference compound of known orientation. The orientation will be or can be determined by converting the compound of known orientation. For example, the first example we take is when ortho, meta and para xylene are oxidized, they form ortho, meta and para dicarboxylic acid respectively. So we can say that the dicarboxylic acid formed from ortho xylene will be ortho dicarboxylic acid. The dicarboxylic acid produced from meta xylene will be meta dicarboxylic acid, and the para dicarboxylic acid will be obtained from the para xylene. Now the second example we take is when ortho, meta and para toluic acid are oxidized, they form ortho, meta and para dicarboxylic acid. So if the dicarboxylic acid is obtained from ortho toluic acid, then it will be ortho dicarboxylic acid. If it is obtained from the meta toluic acid, then it will be meta dicarboxylic acid, and the similar is for para. Now we come to the last method, that is dipole moment method. By dipole moment method, the orientation of the disubstituted isomers can be determined. The dipole moment of para isomer is 0 and the dipole moment of the ortho isomer is higher than the dipole moment of meta isomer. So if we take the example of dichlorobenzene, then we see that the observed dipole moment of the para dichlorobenzene is 0 and also the expected dipole moment is 0. The observed dipole moment of the meta dichlorobenzene is 1.55 dpi, and also the expected dipole moment is also 1.55 dpi. The observed dipole moment for ortho dichlorobenzene is 2.62 dpi and the expected dipole moment is also 2.62 dpi. So we see that the experimental value is in good agreement with the expected theoretical value. So this method holds, and this is all for today. Thank you.